Welcome to our Promoting Communication webinar. We're Kathy and Becky, early years speech and language therapists from Hertfordshire Community NHS Trust, and we're really excited to be sharing some valuable information with you today. We'll be using the term your child throughout the session today, and this means your child as a parent or carer, or a child in your early years setting, or a child you're supporting as a health professional. So what are we covering today? Your role in supporting speech and language development, key stages of speech and language development, and some top tips for promoting speech, language, and communication. Training events like today are so important because everybody has a huge role to play in supporting speech and language development in the early years. There's lots of research to back this up. You are in a brilliant position to facilitate language development because you spend a lot of time with your child. Through play, routines, and everyday activities, you can be using key strategies to notice and build on your child's communication. We want to empower you to feel confident in using these strategies, and we'll explore these later on. The evidence shows this works and leads to positive outcomes for children's speech, language, and communication development. Finally, communication is everybody's business. Not all children need to see a speech and language therapist because we know that early intervention and strategies used at home and in setting can prevent some long-term speech and language difficulties. Let's look at what communication consists of. Attention and listening. This is being able to focus and notice the people and events happening around us. Interaction. So think back and forth and joining in with another person. Play is exploring and engaging with the world around us. Social communication is the way in which we communicate with others for a range of reasons. Understanding of language is also called receptive language and refers to our understanding of the meaning of words. Spoken language is also called expressive language. This is a child's vocabulary, the words and sentences that we use. And finally, speech refers to the way we use our tongue, our mouth, our teeth, and our lips to generate sounds to form words. It's the way we pronounce words.
Ages and stages. On our website, under useful information, you can find details of these ages and stages of typical speech and language development. Today, we're going to go through a very basic overview of what you can typically expect, but please remember that children develop at very different rates. You can see what we typically expect in the first and second years. You can see here that before they are 1, we will see children using early communication skills such as babbling, pointing, and responding to adults by looking. Across the second year, you'll see their understanding developing, as well as their use of single words and perhaps some 2-word phrases as they reach 2. In their third year, you'll see there's a spurt in their vocabulary. They're joining words together more consistently and understanding simple questions and concepts such as big and little. In their fourth year, their language continues to grow. You may still hear some typical speech errors. If you want to find out more about speech sound production, see the speech section of our website or look out for trainings on speech development. If your child is not meeting these stages, it might mean that they need some targeted support, which we'll look at now. In Hertfordshire, we use the 3-tier model, which is this pyramid. And this is all about how we support speech and language development. The universal tier is the base of the pyramid and the largest section. This is because it covers all the work we do for all children. And it includes our website, training, leaflets, social media, raising awareness of speech, language and communication, and webinars like today. The next level of the pyramid, which is slightly smaller, is the targeted level. And this work covers children who are slightly behind the typical ages and stages that we've just discussed. They do need strategies to be put in place by caregivers and setting staff to ensure their language continues to grow. Examples of targeted support are our advice line, which we'll mention later, our specific training packages, and the resources on our website. We also have early language groups such as Early Talk, which are run in family centres across Hertfordshire. If you want to find out more about our Early Talk group, please speak to your health visitor or your local family centre. These universal and targeted tiers are so important, as when children are supported by you, they get early intervention, and it prevents some children from ever needing a speech and language therapy referral, which allows the speech and language therapy team to focus on those children who really need the specialist support. That brings us nicely to the tip of the pyramid, the smallest section, the specialist tier, which is for children who need direct assessment and support from the speech and language therapy team following a referral. You can use our referral guidelines and the information on our website to determine if your child needs a specialist assessment, and it also gives you details about how to make a referral.
So it's strategy time. We want to share some really easy things you can do to help your child's speech and language development. We've put these key strategies into an acronym to help you to remember to follow, and we'll go through each one in turn. Some of these may be new strategies and ideas for you to use, or perhaps you're using some of these strategies already and we can just give you some reassurance that you're doing the right thing and to continue. Now, don't feel you have to try these all in one go. Just pick a couple and see how you get on. We'll give you some ideas of where and when you can try these strategies later. Remember, it may take a little while for your child to respond to these strategies, but keep going with them as consistency and repetition is key. So let's look at each of the strategies in turn. So F is for face-to-face. So get down to your child's level. This lets your child know you're ready to play. And when you're at the same level as your child, even if this means lying on the floor with them, your child can see your face, your reactions, your eyes, your mouth, etc. And when you are face-to-face with your child, you can also observe them more closely. So O is for observe. Observe what your child is playing with and follow their lead. When you watch your child closely, you get to see what they're interested in and what is really making them smile. L is for label. So label what your child is playing with using single words and short phrases. When you label or name or comment, your child learns that the word you've said, for example, car keys, relates to what they're holding or what they're looking at or what they're pointing at. And this is how they develop their vocabulary. It's important to make sure we keep things simple. So we would label car keys instead of, oh, look, you've picked up my car keys. Oh, and look, you're shaking them. Because this helps your child pick out the most important words. You can add an extra word to help them link words. So for example, if they say raisins, you can say open raisins or give me raisins. L is for limit questions. So we want to limit the number of questions we ask our children and instead use comments instead. For example, rather than saying, oh, what's Teddy doing? We can comment instead to give your child the language. So we might say, Teddy's sleeping instead. O is for opportunities. So this is about creating natural opportunities for communication in everyday activities. And I'll come back to this one on the next slide. Finally, W is for wait. Wait and pause within play or routines to give your child the time and the chance to communicate. As children are learning language, they often need a little bit more time to process and use their communication. So when we pause and wait, we give the child a chance to comment or point or show us something, and we give them the chance to make the first move in the interaction. So for example, when your child first opens up a book, you can pause before you start speaking to give them the chance to use some words. Or you can pause before you tickle them or before you knock that tower down. Here are some examples of how to create natural opportunities for communication. So you can offer choices, for example, apple or orange at snack time. Try not to anticipate your child's needs, for example, by helping them before they've communicated they need help. So you can pause for a few seconds to give them the opportunity to communicate before zipping up their coat or before opening a packet for them. Pause in songs and stories or before fun words and exciting bits to give your child a chance to fill in the gap. So, for example, twinkle, twinkle, little. Offer things bit by bit. So give them a little blob of paint or just a small amount of juice so you can give them the chance to communicate that they need more. And finally, make sure you have fun. This is really important. Children learn language best when they are happy and motivated and engaged in something they're really enjoying. With all these strategies, it's important that we accept all forms of communication and that we don't withhold things that child wants or needs. We simply want to find opportunities during the day where we can naturally pause and give the child the chance to communicate. So, for example, your child might reach towards the paint to communicate they want some more. So we're going to accept this and just label more and give it to them. Or your child may say ray for raisins. And again, we're going to accept their communication attempt. We'll label the correct pronunciation and we'll give them the raisins. We can follow wherever we are with the children. So, for example, during play, snack time, cooking, hanging out the washing, in the park, washing hands, supermarket, or even when we're looking at books together.
The benefit of books. It's great to introduce books as early as possible. And there's actually lots of research out there showing the positive impact that sharing books has on a child's language development. Books are colourful, interesting and interactive, and the repetition helps children learn and remember the words, and they often come back to the same book again and again. Follow your child's lead, so don't worry about reading the words or the story or finishing the whole book. Instead, if they want to keep looking at the same page, that's okay. Observe what your child is interested in and label those things. We wanted to speak a little bit about bilingualism. So bilingualism is when a child or person speaks more than one language. They may have a home language that their family speaks, and they may also speak English that they've learned or are hearing at nursery or school. This is a message for parents or professionals. When parents ask you about what language they should focus on speaking, please share the following advice. Speak to your child using your family's home language or languages and the language you are most confident in to give your child the best language model. Your child gets models of English in nursery, but you may be the only people your child hears your home language from. So it's really important for you to speak to your child in your home language to keep the language alive. Don't worry if your child responds in English. Keep talking your home language so their skills in understanding are maintained and developed. They may opt to speak the home language if they want later on. Being bilingual is a strength. When a child learns language from you, speaking your home language, they develop strong language skills which build a solid foundation for more languages to be learnt. Bilingual children are more able to communicate with wider family and maintain links to their culture. It's also an additional future skill in the workplace that could open up opportunities for them. How to support your child in a bilingual home. The key message is to be consistent with the language that you use, as this will help your child to tune in more easily and learn the grammar and the structure of a language. You can absolutely apply the follow strategies in your home language. We want to reassure you that bilingualism does not cause or contribute to speech and language difficulties. This slide shows a summary of all the different ways you can access information and advice from our service via our website, via our advice line. And this is a line that you can call whether you're a parent, a carer or a professional. You leave a message and a member of the speech and language therapy team will call you back to give you individualised advice about your child or a child you're supporting. You can visit our social media pages for top tips and new resources and ideas to support your child. And we've also included the Better Health Start for Life and Tiny Happy People logos, as we'd highly recommend you visit these websites for videos and top tips all about supporting development. Thank you so much for listening today. We hope you found the information helpful and useful. We hope you're feeling empowered and excited to try the strategies we've shared today. Don't forget to follow your child and have fun while you're doing it. Thank you.